Hi, today I'm going to be sharing with you a week of dinners. And so if you need a few ideas for dinners, these are a few that we've been loving and we did try a new one. So I'm excited to share those with you. So if you enjoy this type of content and other homeschool and lifestyle content, please remember to subscribe and let's get into it. Okay, so it is like pouring rain outside. It doesn't rain here very often, so like I'm all for this weather, but it's like so gloomy, so pouring, so sorry that the lighting's a little weird. Sorry if you can hear all the noise, like the rain and thunder in the background, but that's just life. Sometimes that's just what happens. So today I just wanted to share some of the meals that we have during the week, focusing on dinners. And so it was just about 5 days, maybe 6 days worth of meals that I'm gonna be sharing with you, going through and just talking a little bit about them, where I get them from, and then also just our thoughts on them. And we tried a new one, and I'll explain that when we get there. So we're gonna go through that, and for the ones that I can show more in-depth recipes, I will do that. Some of them are like part of subscriptions, so I'm hesitant to share that kind of stuff, but if there's links like for blogs or whatever, I'll put all the links for the recipes I can down below. All right, so on Monday this particular week, we had pulled pork sandwiches with coleslaw. And this recipe is from Lily Eats and Tells. It's just on her blog. She does have a subscription like meal plan as well, which is really awesome. But this one is just available for anybody on her blog, so I'll link it down below. And we have tried it a few times. We really enjoy it. It's fairly simple. It's just throw it in the Instant Pot, like pork tenderloin, throw it in the Instant Pot. And you could even do it earlier in the day. You could put it in the slow cooker. I think she gives an option for the slow cooker as well. And then you can just let it sit there, and it can just sit in the Instant Pot even once it's done, pressurizing and all that stuff. The coleslaw is really easy to throw together. I did make my own brioche. Well, they're not brioche. That's what she puts in the recipe, that you could buy brioche buns. I made sourdough buns for this. Sometimes I make my own hamburger buns and sometimes I don't. It just kind of depends on the timing and all that kind of stuff. So this particular time I did, but you could just buy your favorite kind of hamburger buns from the store, or you don't even have to have it on bread at all, especially if you're watching carb intake and all that kind of stuff. You don't even have to eat it that way at all. So I'm gonna go to the footage and show you how to make it. All right, so first of all, I took about 2 pounds of pork tenderloin, give or take. It doesn't have to be perfect. I cut them into about 4-inch slices, and then I am searing them in the Instant Pot. And I put a little bit of salt on them, but nothing crazy. And so I put them in there, sear them a little bit on each side. And then I'm gonna make the sauce that's gonna go in. So I already have a 1/2 cup of water, and then I put in some brown sugar, a tablespoon of brown sugar, and some dry mustard, 2 teaspoons of dry mustard, 2 teaspoons of onion powder, and then 1 teaspoon of chili powder, and a teaspoon of cumin, and a teaspoon of paprika. And then I don't know if I put in a full teaspoon of salt. I usually, just salt stuff afterwards. And so that's what's in this mixture, and then some garlic. It says 8 cloves on the recipe, so I kind of just guesstimate, and who doesn't love garlic, right? Why not just add a whole bunch more than that? And then I'm flipping the pork right here, trying to get it seared on the other side. It sticks pretty good to the bottom of the pan, so sometimes it's a little hard to get it flipped over. And I realized that I forgot to put the liquid smoke in the mixture, whatever this is called, this dressing. It's not a dressing, the sauce. So it's a tablespoon of liquid smoke. And so then after those brown, I put in an onion that's been cut up, and then I'm gonna also dump the sauce in that I just made, and we're gonna mix that all up. And it smells delicious. It smells, has that smoky, that liquid smoke smell, which is just so nice. And then I put the lid on, and it's going to cook pressurized for 45 minutes. And then you'll just let it gradually release in pressure for, 20 minutes. You can let it sit there for a really long time too. If you made this in the morning, it could just sit there all day, and then you take it out, it'd just be more tender. And I'm just finishing the buns that I made, the hamburger buns. And so that's what I was doing there, putting the egg wash on them, sesame seeds, getting them in the oven. And then I'm making the apple coleslaw. So I just used a cut mix from the store, a 12-ounce bag, and then put in some apples, like 1 apple, and cilantro, and then I'll do some green onion right here and make the little dressing, which is a teaspoon of honey, it's kind of guess. And then it's supposed to be a tablespoon of white wine vinegar. Obviously I was running out, so I used red wine. It doesn't really matter. And then a little bit of mayo, 2 tablespoons of a light mayo, and then 3 tablespoons or so, depending how much you like lime juice in there. And then you can put some salt and some pepper, and then you'll mix that all up. And I feel like it's really good right from the get-go, but you could also let it sit in the fridge for a while if you want to do that. It's kind of your personal preference. And here's the pork. And like I said, once I start breaking apart, it just comes apart so easily. And it's just really so tender. So the longer you can just let it sit there, usually the better it gets. Okay, so here's the spread. My kids are going to burst in the door any moment. It's going to be super loud, but here's the rolls. I have more. And so for leftovers or other things for breakfast, they can have them. So rolls, I'll probably cut up some apples and set out carrots because not everyone likes the coleslaw. But the coleslaw can go on the sandwiches with the pork, and then there's a variety of barbecue sauces, depending on people's preference. So that is what we're having for dinner. All right, so the next day on Tuesday, we did breakfast burritos, and kind of an early or late St. Patrick's Day, I guess, however you want to look at it. I did green eggs, not on purpose, well, sort of on purpose, but I just wanted to get more greens into my kids. That was the point. And if it's just cut up spinach in the eggs, they won't eat them that way. They will eat them that way. It's just not their favorite. And so I was like, okay, we'll just blend it all together and then it'll just all be green. So they were all like, what is this, Mom? But it still worked out really well. They still taste the same, right? You can't really tell that they're spinach. But that night, we had tried breakfast burritos the week before when I was trying to just use up what we had and we hadn't gone to the store yet. And it actually worked really well. I have some kids that are a little pickier eaters, and sometimes certain meals we make might be harder for my baby or my toddler to eat, but they both like eggs, and I can set out sausage. You can change it up in so many different ways. Different salsas, guacamole, sour cream. Whatever you want to add to it, you can use different types of tortilla shells, however you want to kind of customize it, or whatever you have left in your fridge. Basically, you can just set it out and they can make a breakfast burrito out of it, or some sort of breakfast bowl if they want to do that. Or if you have potatoes or something, there's a lot of ways you could change it up. So this is just how I did it this particular day. I don't think I'd actually planned another meal for that week. And so I shifted everything because I just wanted something easy and quick that I knew most people would eat. So this is what I made. And so you will see the eggs were really green. All right, so I just had a pound of sausage in my freezer, and so I just decided to cook that up. You can really use whatever you want. If you have bacon that needs to be used, or Canadian bacon, or pepperonis, or whatever kind of protein, chicken, it doesn't really matter. And then I put a bunch of eggs in my blender. Sometimes I do it this way. Sometimes I just do it by hand. But since I wanted to add a bunch of spinach in here and get it all mixed in and not be clumps of spinach, that's why I put it in my blender. And then when I blended this up, man, it was so green. I couldn't even believe how green it's going to get in a minute. When I blended up, I was like, whoa. And it looked even more green, I swear, when I cooked them. And so I did this just to get a few more vegetables. And as you can see, it got so frothy, crazy frothy. And so then I just put this in the same pan I just cooked the sausage. Any of that extra little bit of flavor was in there. And in the other pan right now, I'm cooking tortilla shells. And I have a variety of sizes and stuff. So smaller ones for my little kids, and then bigger ones for my older kids. And then here they are. My kids were like, what are those? Because they don't look like eggs. They're so green. All right, and here is the basic spread. Green eggs. They're so green. And then some sausage. You can do anything. If you have sausage in the freezer, other meats, my kids might pull out other meats that we have, Canadian bacon, things like that. You can put them on. We have the shells, I'm still cooking some. I'm gonna reach back and flip one so it doesn't burn. And then any kind of cheese you like, and salsa, sour cream, any other toppings. Very simple, you can cut up some fruit, serve it with fruit, but this was a very quick, like 15-minute dinner.
You like it?
How is it, Becca? So yummy, huh? Are you gonna eat it?
Yeah.
All right, so the next day we had family pictures, and I needed something that was easy because family pictures were like right after dinner time. And so I needed something easy, but also not super messy that we could I could throw together, hopefully mostly after lunch. So I was like, crock pot meal, but I couldn't really think of anything that I really wanted to make. And so I was like, we'll just do salad. And I just used the bear chicken from Costco. It's a very quick meal. And so I just prepped everything after lunch, basically. So I cut up salad, a few vegetables, you know, cucumbers, and I think some tomatoes from our garden. It wasn't anything super fancy, and I threw together a salad dressing, which I'll show you that salad dressing in a minute. It's just from Clean Monday Mills. She sells seasonings, if you're not aware, gluten-free seasonings. And she also has a meal subscription. I'm not subscribed to that one, but she does share a lot of things on Instagram. So I'll share that recipe with you in a minute. And then, yeah, I just had all that stuff. I put it in the fridge. And then when it came dinner time, we just quickly threw the bear chicken in the air fryer for like 15 minutes. Some of my kids don't like to put it as a salad. And so I cut up, you know, a few fruits and vegetables or whatever, and give that to them as an option to eat them more like chicken nuggets and not like a salad. And it was super easy. It was very low stress for me. I didn't have to keep running back and forth to the kitchen while I was trying to get ready for pictures and all that kind of stuff. So that was a really good, like if you need a quick, easy, just always on standby type of meal, I feel like that's a really, really good one. It's so easy to throw together. And again, the kids can kind of decide what they want to do with it, what they want to add to it, and it just gives them a variety of options. And then here's the salad dressing from Clean Monday Mills. And so this is 1 cup of your milk of choice. Okay, I just have normal, regular whole milk that I use for my little kids. And then you're gonna put in a cup of mayo. Again, you can use whatever. If you want a dairy-free version, you can do that. This is a light mayo. And then I put in a 1/4 cup of Greek yogurt. You could do sour cream, again, something that's dairy-free if you want, but I just like the protein that's in Greek yogurt as well. And then 3 tablespoons of the Clean Monday Mills ranch seasoning, which is very, very, very good. And then I put in a little bit of lemon juice, you know, just to add a little bit of that fresh flavor, and that's it. It's fairly simple, and then you just shake the heck out of it. And then you just can keep it in your fridge, and you have a homemade ranch. You can use it for dipping or just a sauce for any type of food you want. Okay, so here's most of dinner, and my husband, he's not for dinner. Not today. Anyway, and so here's the tomatoes, cucumbers, there's romaine and spinach mixed together, and then salad dressing's the one I made, some ranch, and then there's also ketchup and barbecue sauce because some of my kids don't want to make it as a salad. They just eat chicken as chicken nuggets. And then we have the chicken. It's almost done in here. So then we're gonna eat dinner, and I'm gonna have a bagel with it. So some of my other kids might, or my husband might have a bagel with it as well. So that is dinner for tonight. All right, so on Thursday, we made cheeseburger soup. And this has become one of my favorite meals. This is from Macro Friendly Foods, which I am part of her subscription. So I probably won't share like specific details, but you could get the gist of it probably from looking at the recipes. You know, I probably will give some measurements and stuff like that. But her meal subscription isn't very expensive either. It's just from Macro Friendly Foods, and you can go in and subscribe to her meal plan, and she puts out new recipes every single month, and you have access to all the old recipes too, and they help, you know, focus on balanced macros. And something I want to mention, so Lily Eats and Tells and Macro Friendly Foods do like macro type meals, and Lily Eats focuses a little bit more like on tons of vegetables and really bold fresh flavors. And macro-friendly food, if I can say all these names really fast, she has a lot of comfort food that has been made healthier. And then she also has salads. She has all that kind of stuff as well, but they're just slightly different. So I guess depending on what you like or what you know, if you like a variety, because sometimes the too much flavor from Lily Eats is too much for my family all the time, but I like to throw her recipes in as well. So it creates a good balance for our family. But the cheeseburger soup is something I love. And even in the summer, when I was like, can we have soup in the summer? I would make it because it's just something I usually have ingredients for as well. And I like to substitute ground turkey. I think the recipe calls for ground beef, but I just like the texture of ground turkey better. And we really enjoyed this recipe, and I served it with some sourdough I had in the freezer. Very, very simple, very delicious meal. All right, I found this recipe on Instagram actually under macro-friendly foods. If you just scroll down her recipes, you'll find the cheeseburger soup. And so I'm actually gonna give you all the measurements since you can find it on Instagram. It's not just on her app, which there is a lot of recipes that are just on her app. And so I'm cutting a whole bunch of vegetables up. So celery, carrots. She uses shredded carrots in her recipe, which you can do. The chunks of carrots are actually easier for my little kids to eat, which is why I do them that way. And then I just saute them up in the pan to try to get them soft so they don't have to cook as much in the liquid. And then I'm going to do about 4 cups of potatoes. You know, it's usually ends up being more because we like potatoes. And again, it's really easy to take them out of the soup for my little kids to eat, especially my baby. And so I'm going to cut all those up. And while I'm cutting them, I'm cooking 2 pounds of turkey. You could do ground beef, but I like turkey. Just the texture is better. Once it's cooked, I'm going to add in some Italian seasoning or parsley, just a teaspoon or more, and a teaspoon of dried basil, and mix that all up. It's very simple seasonings, but it has really good flavor, and it's just like a good hearty soup. So I'm gonna put my vegetables in that I took out earlier so I could cook my meat, and then add 4 cups of beef broth into this, and mix it all up. And then I'm just going to put the lid on it and let it simmer, probably for about 15 minutes. You're just looking for the vegetables to be soft and the potatoes to be soft, you know, that I'm putting in right now. So you're looking for all those things to be a nice soft texture. I feel like celery takes the longest to cook. And so that's what I'm looking for. I make sure the celery's cooked because that's the most important thing. I don't want crunchy celery in my soup. And then I'm going to make the cheese sauce. So I'm grating some cheese here. You know, you can use whatever type of cheddar cheese or sharp cheese you like. And it's 1.5 cups of cheese. And then I have 2 tablespoons of butter in here. We're gonna make a roux. And I just put in 1/4 cup of flour. We're gonna whisk that up for a few minutes, let the flour flavor kind of cook out. And then we're gonna add in 1.5 cups of low-fat milk or just whatever milk you have. I just have whole milk because that's what my babies drink. So that's what we're using here. And I try to put it in a little bit slowly just because then you don't end up with as many clumps. It's a little easier to whisk the clumps out, you know, and this is the base for a bechamel sauce. That's what we're making, is a bechamel sauce. And then we're gonna add in our cheese. And it's supposed to be 1.5 cups. It usually is more than 1.5 cups for me. That I just kind of eyeball it and put in what it is. If you want to be more accurate with your macros, you might want to actually measure. But that's just what I do. And then you're gonna whisk that all up until it's mostly melted. You're gonna turn off the heat, and then you're going to put in about 1/4 cup of a non-fat plain Greek yogurt. So that's what I'm doing here. And then you can put salt and pepper in it. I would love to put more pepper in it, but I have a child that's very sensitive to pepper, and so I don't usually put as much. But I love like a white sauce with lots and lots of pepper, or like a gravy with lots and lots of pepper. So good, so good. So I'm just putting in little bits here and mixing that in. Now my vegetables, everything's been cooking for a good amount of time, so I'm gonna put my cheese sauce in with everything else and just pour it right in there. And then we're gonna give it a good mix and it's gonna be just so delicious and creamy. Obviously, it's not as creamy as the cheese sauce is right here coming right out of the pan, but it's still just such a good, hearty, like comforting soup. And I just love it so much, especially just served with a piece of bread. All right, here's dinner. The soup is nice and piping hot, and then some sourdough that I had put in the freezer a while ago, so we're just gonna have that with our soup. All right, so I feel bad saying this is a full week of meals because Friday was kind of a repeat meal. My husband and my two oldest girls were at a little daddy-daughter camp for our church, and so they stayed overnight and they weren't here that evening. And when he's gone, I usually just don't try as hard to make food, and so I actually did the bear chicken salad again. So that was easy because I already had all the things prepped. And then my kids, I just made some extra bear chicken, and most of them just had chicken nuggets, you know how to add chicken nuggets, and then had like a fruit or vegetable with it. Like very, very simple. Husband's gone. I'm trying to take care of everybody else, you know, and don't have my two oldest like girls to help out and stuff like that. So it made it very simple. So if you need something quick, easy, bear chicken or some sort of similar item is really great. Like it's a great source of protein, and then just throw it together with some fruits and vegetables and you have great dinner. All right, and then Saturday, my daughter that's 11 made dinner for us. I helped her, but it was sausage, like roasted sausage, carrots, and potatoes, like on a sheet pan. And this was actually part of her, I think this was part of her KiwiCo crate. She has the Yummy crate from KiwiCo, and then also gets one from Little Passports. I'll have videos coming out about that, but right now she's working through the recipes and stuff. So once we're all done with the first month, then I'll have a video that shows my thoughts about it, how everything went. It's part of our homeschool this year. She's doing some more with cooking and things like that. And so one of the recipes that came with the KiwiCo one was this sausage, carrots, and potatoes. And it was actually quite delicious. we really enjoyed it, and you can pick whatever kind of sausage you like. You know, we had a mix of sausages. Some of them were chicken, some of them were just like a kielbasa sausage from Walmart. And so if you have different ones you like, or if you have health concerns or issues that you need to address with that, you know, it's very versatile, and you could roast to whatever vegetables you wanted. It had potatoes and carrots, but you could do broccoli and cauliflower. Again, it's very versatile. You could do another sheet pan with other vegetables that you want with it. And then we just ate it like that. You know, I did set out ketchup and some different condiments and stuff for some of my kids if they wanted to eat it with that, but I feel like it was a winner. We all really enjoyed it. It was very good, very simple. It's like the hardest part of it, honestly, was having to cut everything up, which is why it was difficult for her. She was doing a really good job. It's just like hard to get through it all, right? I'm like, it takes a really long time when you're not used to cutting things so much. And so I stepped in and helped her cut everything up so that we could have dinner that night and not like 5 days later. So anyway, all of it was fairly simple. Once you get it in the oven, you don't have to do anything, right? It's very hands-off. So it was a very simple, quick type of meal to put together, and with very simple ingredients and a very simple like sauce to go on the carrots and potatoes. I feel like it was a winner. All right, so my daughter is weighing the potatoes. It's supposed to be about 1.5 pounds. Again, it doesn't have to be 100% accurate. One of the joys of cooking is not always being accurate. And then she's peeling the carrots. She's gonna peel the potatoes. I help her some because it would have taken a really long time otherwise, because it's, 1.5 pounds of potatoes and then 3 large carrots. And so it's a lot for her to be able to peel and cut everything. And we just used yellow potatoes, I believe, but you could do baby potatoes. I feel like any sort of potato would be fine. Whatever you have, just make it work. And so that's what she's doing here. And I'm trying to tell her, like, let's try to get as even cuts as we can, cut it this way. And she's doing an impressively good job with that huge knife. And then she's making the sauce that's going to go over the potatoes and carrots. So it's 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and she's just going to put them in a container and mix it all together. And then it'll be 2 tablespoons of maple syrup, and then 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard, which, was a heck of a time for her to get out of the container. It's just kind of hard. And so she had to tap it on the counter several times to be able to get the 2 tablespoons that she needed for the recipe. And so it was funny, but she finally got it. It just took a little while. So she's gonna add that in, and then she's gonna add a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of onion powder, and then a teaspoon of salt. Well, I think she adds maybe a half a teaspoon of salt. Again, I don't like to have stuff crazy salty, and so I like to undersalt than oversalt. And then a quarter of a teaspoon of paprika, and that's optional. So if you don't like the taste or smell or whatever of paprika, then don't add it, or the color. It just adds such a pretty color. And then she's gonna mix that up and pour it in with the potatoes and carrots, mix that all up. And then this is all going to go on a pan to roast. And if you want easier cleanup, you can line it with foil. And so it's gonna go in an oven that's 400 degrees Fahrenheit. And you're gonna roast it for 30 minutes. And while she's doing that, we're cutting the sausage, because after 30 minutes, the sausage is gonna go in with the vegetables and roast for 30 more minutes, which is what she's doing here. So those vegetables have roasted for 30 minutes. Now you add the sausage, kind of stirred it around as best that we could, and then put it back in the oven for 30 more minutes. And then it was beautiful, like golden brown, looked so delicious, and it tasted delicious. Okay, here's the beautiful dinner. It looks so nice and golden brown. I set out a few like condiments if people want to dip, and then just some fruit, apples. I'll cut up strawberries, and there's some grapes. So really simple. Alana did a really good job throwing this all together. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's a little different than what I normally do. And if you enjoy like seeing recipes from me, or just kind of seeing what we eat in a week, especially with our crazy, homeschool schedule, and then having 8 of us in this house with 6 kids and everything, let me know. I can do more of this type of video and show you more of what we like and some of our recipes, especially going into fall with all the soups. Those are so good. And so remember to give this video a thumbs up, and also let us know down in the comments some of the things that you're enjoying making or that you're looking forward to make for fall. Desserts, dinners, whatever. I'm open to any type of food. And so put those down in the comments, and I will see you next time.